7 days to change your destiny. Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from the end of another beginning." Deep down, have you ever felt stuck in your own life? Still the same person, trapped in the same habits, living in the same repetitive cycle. Day after day passes, and nothing really changes, except the growing feeling that you're wasting more of your potential. But imagine this. In just 7 days, you could rebuild yourself. Not with small tweaks, but with a complete transformation. Your mind, your body, your presence, your actions. 1 week is all it takes to step into a new chapter, one so powerful there's no turning back. This isn't some empty promise. It's a roadmap day by day rooted in Stoic philosophy. And if you commit to it, 7 days from now, you'll look in the mirror and realize the old you is gone. Day 1. Destroy the old self. You can't build a new house on a foundation that's already crumbling. And you can't build a stronger, sharper, unshakable version of yourself on top of the weak, hesitant, excuse-making version that's been holding you back for years. So let's start here. Day 1 isn't about adding something new. It's about destruction, a clean break, the death of the old self. But first, let me ask you, who is the old self? It's the part of you that procrastinates, the voice that says, "I'll start tomorrow," but never does. It's the part of you that breaks promises to others, but more dangerously, to yourself. It's the part of you that cares more about what strangers might think than about living authentically. It's the version of you that bargains with bad habits and says, "Just one more time, then I'll quit." That person has to die, today. If you don't bury him now, he'll bury you along with your dreams, your potential, and the life you could have lived. So here's your challenge. Perform a symbolic act of separation. Take a sheet of paper and write it all down. Every weakness, every toxic pattern, every excuse you've been clinging to. Write laziness. Write scrolling for hours instead of working. Write anger that controls me. Write fear of failure. Every single thing you're done carrying. Then destroy it, burn it, rip it into pieces, bury it if you must, watch the flames or the torn fragments, and let that act sear itself into your mind. This isn't just paper turning to ash. This is you cutting ties with the version of yourself that kept you small. Because here's the truth. As long as you keep identifying with your old self, you'll never step into the new one. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And he was right. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from refusing to be enslaved by your own weaknesses. Destroying the old self isn't easy. It hurts. It feels uncomfortable because you've worn those patterns for years like a second skin. But discomfort is proof that change is happening. The old identity will resist. It will whisper in your ear, "This is who you are. You can't change overnight." That voice is lying. You are not your past. You are not your habits. You are not the excuses you once believed. Today marks the funeral of the old you. Don't mourn him. He was necessary to get you here, to teach you what didn't work, but he cannot follow you into the life you're about to create. So light the fire, tear the paper, and make the decision final. From this moment forward, every choice you make is a vote for the new you. There's no turning back. Day 1 is destruction, but on the other side of destruction lies freedom. Day 2, rebuild the body. A new self requires a new body. Your body is not just flesh and bone, it's the vessel of your mind, the tool of your spirit. You cannot build mental discipline on top of a body that is weak, neglected, or constantly running on fumes. Day 2 is about the physical. And this isn't about chasing six-pack abs or posting gym selfies. This is about reclaiming your body as the foundation of strength, energy, and resilience. Start simple. You don't need a perfect plan, fancy equipment, or hours in the gym. All you need is 30 minutes of movement. Run. Do push-ups. Jump rope. Walk briskly. Do burpees until your lungs burn. It doesn't matter what you choose, the point is to overcome the voice inside that whispers, "Not today. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow." That's the resistance you must crush. And here's the secret. The workout isn't about the muscles. It's about the message. Every drop of sweat is a declaration that says, I'm in control. I will not let my body or my laziness dictate my future. But rebuilding your body isn't just about exercise. It's about every choice you make. Today, cut the poison. Too much sugar, fast food, alcohol, endless caffeine. Fuel your body the way you would fuel a warrior before battle. Clean food, water, nutrition that sharpens rather than dulls. Then, fix your sleep. This one is non-negotiable. No more scrolling TikTok until 2 a.m. No more blue light binges. Your body restores itself in sleep, your muscles rebuild, your brain resets, your mind heals. Without sleep, no discipline can last. The Romans had a saying, mens sana in corpore sano, a sound mind in a sound body. The Stoics believed that training the body was training the soul. Seneca himself would plunge into cold water, not for comfort, but to remind himself that he could endure discomfort. To them, the body was not a playground for vanity, but a proving ground for resilience. And think about it. When your body changes, your mind follows. The man who once slouched in defeat starts standing taller. The woman who once doubted herself begins to walk with certainty. Your body becomes the armor that protects your spirit. Day 2 is not about perfection. It's about momentum. Every push-up, every healthy meal, every night of proper sleep is a brick in the fortress you're building. And with each brick, you're not just rebuilding your body, you're rebuilding your identity. Because when you wake up tomorrow and feel the ache in your muscles, that pain isn't weakness. That pain is proof. Proof that yesterday you fought back. Proof that the old self is dying. And if you keep going, day by day, the reflection in the mirror will no longer feel like a stranger. It will feel like the warrior you were always meant to be. Day 2 is the foundation. Rebuild the body and the mind will follow. Day 3. Upgrade the mind. By now, you've destroyed the old self and begun rebuilding your body. But strength isn't just measured in muscle or endurance. The greatest battlefield you will ever face is inside your own head. If you don't master your mind will master you. Day 3 is about upgrading your thinking, reprogramming the way you respond to life, because most of your suffering doesn't come from reality itself. It comes from how you interpret reality. Think about it. Two people can face the same challenge, the same storm, but one drowns in fear while the other grows stronger. What makes the difference? Their mindset. The Stoics taught us that life is less about what happens to you and more about how you respond. Epictetus, born a slave, crippled for life, could have chosen bitterness. Instead, he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's the heart of today's lesson. Here's how you begin upgrading your mind. 1. Separate what's in your control from what isn't. Every time you face a problem, stop and ask, can I control this? If yes, act with courage. If no, release it. Worrying about things you can't control is like running on a treadmill. It exhausts you but takes you nowhere. 2. Change the inner dialogue. Most of us talk to ourselves in ways we'd never talk to a friend. We say, I'm not good enough. I always fail. This is too hard. But here's the truth. Your brain listens to every word. The old self thrived on excuses. The new self thrives on discipline. Start replacing why me with why not me. Start replacing I can't with I must. 3. Adopt the Stoic principles of amor fati and memento mori. Amor fati means love your fate. Don't just accept what happens, embrace it as necessary. Lost your job? Maybe this is the door that forces you into the career you were meant for. Got rejected? Maybe it's clearing space for something better. Memento mori means remember you will die. Not to depress you, but to awaken you. If life is fragile, then every day matters. Every conversation, every choice, every action is a step closer to the legacy you leave. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine you're working on a big project. and suddenly everything goes wrong. The old you would panic, complain, and maybe quit. The upgraded you, the day 3 you, pauses and says, "Good, this is my chance to practice resilience. This is the training I asked for." That shift changes everything. Because the reality is this: life will never stop throwing challenges your way. But once you upgrade your mind, challenges stop being obstacles and start becoming stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not just philosophy, that's strategy. Every obstacle you face is raw material for growth. So today, train your mind like you train your body. Catch negative thoughts and flip them. Practice gratitude in the middle of hardship. Rehearse in your head how a Stoic would respond before life tests you for real. And remember this: the strongest prisons are built in the mind, but so are the keys to escape. Day 3 is the day you start forging that key. Upgrade your mind, and the world itself begins to look different. Day 4. Commanding social presence. By day 4, you've already buried your old self, rebuilt your body, and begun upgrading your mind. But there's another battlefield we cannot ignore: the social world. How you show up around others can either amplify your power or drain it. Think about it before you ever speak. People have already judged you. Your posture, your energy, the way you carry yourself, these things speak louder than words. And here's the hard truth: if you don't learn to command your presence, you'll fade into the background of your own life. Day 4 is about projecting strength, not arrogance; influence, not intimidation; confidence, not noise. 1. Master your body language. A Stoic doesn't shuffle his feet or avoid eye contact. He stands tall, shoulders back, eyes steady. He moves with intention. When you walk into a room, don't let it feel like an accident. Let it feel like a statement. You don't have to say a word for people to know you're grounded. 2. Harness the power of silence. Most people talk to fill the air, but silence controlled, deliberate silence creates gravity. When you pause before answering, when you let your words breathe, people lean in. They feel the weight of what you say because you don't waste breath on fluff. As Epictetus advised, be silent for the most part, or speak only what is necessary and in a few words. 3. Speak with clarity, not volume. A strong presence doesn't mean being the loudest voice in the room. In fact, the loudest are often the weakest. Speak slowly, clearly, and with purpose. A single sharp sentence will outlast 10 minutes of rambling. Remember Marcus Aurelius's lesson: waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. 4. Let your actions outshine your words. Anyone can boast. Anyone can brag about what they will do. But a Stoic shows rather than tells. Imagine being the person who doesn't announce every plan, but whose results speak so loudly that people have no choice but to notice. That's presence. Now, let's put this into practice. Picture yourself at a meeting, or even a casual gathering. The old you might fidget, scroll on your phone, or speak just to be included. The new you, the day 4 you, sits with calm focus. When you finally speak, you don't over-explain. You drop one clear insight that makes people pause. That's commanding social presence. Why does this matter? Because the way you carry yourself changes how the world treats you, and more importantly, it reinforces how you see yourself. When you act with composure, you start to believe in your composure. When you project strength, you start to embody strength. The Stoics knew this. They weren't trying to impress crowds or win applause, but they understood that living with inner strength naturally radiates outward. The external world mirrors the internal. As within, so without. Day 4 isn't about becoming someone fake. It's about aligning your outer presence with your inner transformation. You've been working on your body and mind. Now let the world see it, not through bragging, not through shouting, but through the unshakable energy of someone who knows who they are. Commanding presence isn't about forcing respect. It's about earning it through calm, control, and conviction. So when you step into a room today, remember, your presence is your message. Say less, mean more. Let silence and stillness be your armor. And when you finally choose to speak, let it carry the weight of a man or woman who has already conquered themselves. Day 4 is about this truth. The strongest voice in the room doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be undeniable. Day 5, Relentless Execution. By day 5, the blueprint is clear. You've destroyed your old self, rebuilt your body, upgraded your mind, and begun to project a presence that commands respect. But none of this matters, none of it, if you stop at theory. Knowledge without execution is just another form of procrastination. The world is full of people who know. They've read the books, watched the videos, listened to the podcasts. They can quote Seneca or Marcus Aurelius. They can tell you the importance of discipline, of controlling your emotions, of focusing on what matters. But when it comes time to act, they freeze. They wait for the right time. They wait to feel ready. Here's the truth. You will never feel ready. And that's why day 5 is all about execution, relentless, unapologetic execution. 1. Kill the word tomorrow. Tomorrow is the oldest lie you've ever told yourself. I'll start my diet tomorrow. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll launch that project tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, it just disguises itself as another today. And if you keep waiting, one day you'll wake up realizing you've run out of tomorrows. So today, if you've been saying you'll start writing that book, open a blank page and write a single paragraph. If you've been saying you'll start running, put on your shoes and step outside. If you've been saying you'll learn that new skill, watch one lesson and take one note. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. 2. Replace motivation with discipline. Motivation is fragile. It vanishes the moment you're tired, stressed, or distracted. Discipline is different. Discipline is the promise you keep to yourself long after the mood has left. The Stoics never relied on fleeting emotions, they built lives around principles. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." 3. Shrink the task, but never the standard. Sometimes the mountain feels too high, so we quit before we start. But here's the trick. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take the next step. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for progress. Instead of saying, "I'll run 5 miles, say, "I'll run for 10 minutes. If you do more, great. If not, you still kept the promise." That's execution. 4. Build momentum with small wins. Action breeds confidence. Confidence breeds more action. When you take small, relentless steps, you create a snowball effect. Suddenly, the project you thought was impossible starts to look inevitable. You've built momentum, and momentum is unstoppable. Let me paint a picture. Imagine 2 versions of yourself. One who keeps talking, planning, and waiting, and one who takes messy, imperfect action every single day. Fast forward 6 months. The planner is still talking. The executor has built something real. The difference between them isn't talent, it isn't luck, it's execution. Day 5 is where most people quit. They love to dream, they love to plan, but they never cross the bridge into doing. That's why their lives look the same year after year. If you don't want to be one of them, you must hardwire yourself to act. So burn this into your mind. The perfect plan is useless without execution, but even an imperfect action will move you forward. Relentless execution isn't glamorous. It's not always Instagram-worthy. It's quiet, repetitive, and often exhausting. But it builds something no hack or shortcut ever will: unshakable progress. Day 5 is this. Stop waiting. Stop planning endlessly. Stop looking for permission. Take the step. Do the work. Execute relentlessly. Because the world doesn't reward ideas, it rewards action. Day 6. Build systems, not goals. By day 6, you've done the hardest part. You've taken action. You've proven to yourself that you can destroy the old identity, rebuild your body, upgrade your mind, and execute relentlessly. But here's the danger: if you stop here, you'll slip back. You'll burn bright for a few days or weeks, then crash into old patterns. Why? Because motivation and willpower are temporary. Systems are permanent. Most people live their lives chasing goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to save $10,000. I want to read 50 books this year. And while goals sound good, here's the truth. Goals are fragile. They depend on circumstances, moods, and short-term bursts of effort. Once the initial spark fades, the old self creeps back in. That's why the Stoic way isn't about goals, it's about systems. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up saying, "My goal today is to be wise." He built daily rituals of journaling, reflection, and discipline that forged wisdom as a byproduct. Seneca didn't set a goal to be resilient. He trained himself daily with discomfort, writing, and practice until resilience became who he was. 1. Systems beat motivation. Motivation gets you started. Systems keep you going. Instead of saying, "I'll go to the gym 3 times a week," create a system every morning at 7 a.m. No matter what, you put on your shoes and move your body. The system isn't negotiable, it's automatic. 2. Design your environment. The strongest system is one you don't have to think about. Want to eat better? Don't keep junk food in the house. Want to read more? Place a book where your phone usually sits. Want to waste less time online? Delete the apps that trap you. Your environment should pull you toward discipline, not temptation. 3. Create triggers and routines. The human brain loves patterns. If you link new habits to things you already do, they stick. Example: after brushing your teeth, meditate for 2 minutes. After pouring your morning coffee, write down 3 priorities. After dinner, go for a walk. Small triggers become automatic routines, and routines compound into transformation. 4. Reward progress, punish regression. Even the Stoics understood the psychology of incentives. Seneca often practiced voluntary discomfort, not to punish himself, but to remind himself what was at stake if he grew soft. You can do the same. If you hit your weekly target, reward yourself with something meaningful. If you skip your system, add an extra workout or cut an indulgence. Discipline sharpens when there are consequences. Let's picture 2 people again. One is a goal chaser. He sets ambitious goals every January, gets excited, and then by March, he's burned out. The other is a system builder. He doesn't care about grand declarations. He just follows his routines day after day, quietly stacking small wins. Fast forward a year. The goal chaser is still stuck. The system builder has transformed completely. That's the lesson of day 6. Systems create consistency. Consistency creates identity. And identity is destiny. So today, stop asking, "What do I want to achieve?" Start asking, "What system will make that achievement inevitable?" Remember this: you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Day 6 is about locking in discipline so deep that it becomes second nature. When the world tempts you, when laziness whispers, when distractions call, you won't break. Not because you're forcing yourself, but because you've built a life where discipline is automatic. Build systems, not goals, and watch how the new self you've created becomes permanent. Day 7. Lock in the new identity. You've made it to day 7. Think about that. In just 1 week, you've destroyed the old self, rebuilt your body, upgraded your mind, learned to project presence, executed relentlessly, and built systems to sustain your progress. But there's one final step: locking it all in. Because transformation isn't about temporary change, it's about permanent identity. Here's the truth: anyone can change for a week. Anyone can push themselves for a few days when they're excited. But if you want to become unrecognizable not just for 7 days, but for the rest of your life, you must protect this new identity like a warrior guards his fortress. 1. Identity over outcome. Outcomes are fragile. You can hit a target today and miss it tomorrow, but identity endures. Instead of saying, "I want to be disciplined," say, "I am disciplined." Instead of, "I want to be strong," say, "I am someone who trains daily." Once your actions align with your identity, the fight gets easier. You no longer act out of pressure, you act out of who you are. 2. Fortify your environment and circle. The old self is always waiting for a chance to come back, and the fastest way it sneaks in is through your environment and your relationships. If your friends only want to drink, gossip, or waste time, your identity will erode. If your environment is full of distractions, your systems will crumble. Protect your circle. Surround yourself with people who push you forward. Create spaces that reflect the life you want, not the one you left behind. 3. Practice daily rituals of remembrance. The Stoics practiced journaling, reflection, and meditation not as hobbies, but as anchors to their philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Meditations not to publish a book, but to remind himself of his principles every single day." Do the same. Write down what you stand for. Reflect on your victories and failures. Revisit your systems. Each day, recommit to the identity you're building. 4. Accept that setbacks will come. Locking in your new self doesn't mean perfection. You will slip, you will fail. You will have days when the old self tries to resurrect itself. But here's the key. Don't mistake a stumble for a collapse. When you fall, rise quickly. When you break a promise, make the next one stronger. The Stoic doesn't seek a life without struggle. He seeks a mind unbroken by struggle. Now imagine this. You're standing in front of the mirror, 7 days after you started. You see the same face, maybe the same body, but you know you are not the same person. The old self is gone. The procrastinator, the excuse maker, the weak, fearful version of you has been buried. In its place stands someone sharper, calmer, stronger. But here's the final challenge. Will you carry this forward, or will you let the old self creep back in, convincing you that this was just a phase? Day 7 is the crossroads. You can choose to say, "That was a nice experiment," and drift back to mediocrity. Or you can say, "This is who I am now," and lock it in forever. Remember this. Real freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Real freedom is living so deeply in alignment with your values that nothing can shake you. This is the final lesson. Identity is destiny. And today, you decide if your destiny is weakness or strength, mediocrity or greatness, the old self or the new. Day 7 is not the end. It's the beginning of the life you were meant to live. Conclusion. The decision is yours. 7 days. That's all it takes to destroy the old, rebuild the body, upgrade the mind, and lock in the new identity. The only question left is this. Will you choose to start today, or will you let another day slip away? If you're ready to take the first step, drop a comment below. Day 1. I'm in. That's not just a comment, it's your commitment to yourself. And if this journey spoke to you, consider liking this video and subscribing for more Stoic lessons to keep you sharp and unshakable.